Hello there, everybody. It is Dr. Siobhan Parad here, founder of Relatable. I am so glad you have joined me for day 3 of this marriage reset, right? This is our 3-day marriage reset where over the past couple of days, I have been coming on and sharing some of the exact strategies that I use with my private clients who are looking to make some improvements or dramatic transformations in their marriage. And so I'm very excited to come back on and be here for day 3 of this 3-day marriage reset. Now, if this is your first time ever seeing me and you're like, who is this person on Facebook talking about this stuff? Hello. I am Dr. Siobhan. I am a marriage coach and I help women develop the mindset and skills to create happy and loving marriages without making over their husband. How in the world do you do that? Well, I firmly believe and have demonstrated in my own life as well in the lives of my clients that changing your marriage a lot of times requires that you first take a really, really good look in the mirror at the way that you might be contributing to the very things that you do not want. So on today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the fastest way to put your marriage back on track. So the first day of this 3-day marriage reset, we talked about creating a vision for your marriage, having this more ideal experience, this more ideal way of interacting with your husband. And so if you did not catch that, be sure to scroll through and find day 1 because I offer some exercises that I really think you're going to want to do because they're going to make you, one, feel better and give you hope and a little bit of encouragement and point you in the direction of where you really want to be and where you really want to go. On day 2, we talked about releasing resentment, how unforgiveness and a hardened heart just creates more division and discord and disharmony in the marriage when really what you desire is greater connection, greater intimacy, and more effortless communication. So be sure to check out day 2 for all of the details of a 3-step process I offer for releasing resentment. So today on day 3, we are talking about what you can do to experience the fastest, most effective transformation, change, reset, reboot in your marriage. And the theme for today is all about you. It's all about you. So a lot of times when I talk with women and I ask them, what is it you want to see be different in your marriage? Without fail, the answer is always, I want my husband to be this. I want my husband to do that. I want my husband to understand this. Fill in the blank with any number of things. And so I listen very patiently, very intently, as do husbands, for those who were in sessions with me with their spouse. And then I pause and I ask them, what is the change and the transformation you want to see in yourself at the end of this process? And that is a place where sort of the eyes roll up and there's like this silence of, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. And so for you joining me now in this 3-day marriage reset, I want to pose the same question to you. What is the reset? What is the transformation? What is the change? What is the shift that needs to occur in you? Because to be perfectly honest, that is going to be your place of greatest control. That is going to be your place of greatest impact in changing anything about your marriage. The dynamics between you and your husband are really a function of you and him. And if you change you, right, you've changed a key ingredient in the equation of what's happening between you. And he will respond to you differently when you give him something different to respond to. And that requires that we break out of a lot of habits. That requires that we break out of a lot of mindsets, beliefs, attitudes, judgments, perceptions, and ways of being that don't serve that greater vision that we have for our marriage. And so I always want you to hold up a mirror. When you think about what it is you want in your marriage and how you want things to be, you have to ask yourself this question: am I in alignment with that? Am I showing up as the type of woman that is creating that in my marriage, whatever that is for you? And so today I will offer you 3 steps, right? I'm doing this in 3 steps because it's so easy to digest in a short video like this, that I believe will help you to really even get to the place of where you want to change, right? Because let's be honest here. You know the things you should be doing, right? You know the ways that you can be a better spouse to your husband, but there's something getting in the way. Like there's something that's preventing you from wanting to do those things, from being open to doing those things, from feeling that it's even worth doing those things. And before I tell you, yes, you need to listen to him, you need to make him feel appreciated, you need to give him your admiration and approval and your respect. Before I even am able to fully have that conversation with you, we need to remove some of the roadblocks that would prevent you from even being able to receive that. And there are 3 that I want to just call to your attention and encourage you to deal with those first, because then it will make being that loving and kind and caring Proverbs 31 wife, removing those things will make that part so much easier, okay? So the first thing is what we were talking about yesterday, but it's so worth bringing up again, because time and time again, when I'm working with clients, when I sit and I look at your faces, or if we're working virtually together, I see the resentment that has built up, the hurt and the pain that you carry with you, that almost make it impossible for you to see past your own wounds, your own scars, your own, bleeding heart that has been so bruised and so damaged and so hurt by things your husband has said, ways he's responded to you, rejection you've experienced. And I want to tell you, we've got to deal with that. And the dealing with it doesn't actually have anything to do with him. That there's nothing you actually need for him to do differently or say differently, or no way he needs to be different in order for you to heal those hurts and that resentment. And I think that's where so many of us get stuck. We're looking for him to make it right for us in some way. But the only way to make it right is to give it to God, to just lay it out at his feet, to surrender all of the pain, all of the anguish, all of the heartache that you may have experienced in your marriage, and just turn it over to God and ask him to make it new for you. Ask him to heal your heart, and he will. So that is step number 1. That, I believe, is really one of the biggest things that gets in the way of us being able to step into the type of spouse, the type of wife that we know we really want to be. The second thing is this catch-all, which is a combination of blame, judgment, self-righteousness, and fault-finding. We are so good at seeing all of the things that our husbands are doing wrong. We are so good at pointing the finger at him. If he would just stop doing this, then I would be happy. If he would just change in this particular way, then we would have something to work with. And that all may be true. It really, really may be true. But there are a lot of things he is doing wrong. There are a lot of ways that he needs to improve. But here's the thing, right? You can't make him. We hear that all the time. We know it all the time on an intellectual level, but we really need to internalize that message. And along with that, we need to recognize that the criticism, that the suggestions, which are asked, right? That the trying to like manipulate things to be the way we want them is never going to get us what we need. That our attention is better spent focusing on how can I manage myself in this undesirable situation? How can I better manage the words that come out of my mouth when my husband has done something to upset me or to frustrate me? That's where your attention needs to be. And so we've got to release this spirit of judgment and condemnation and criticism and blaming and fault finding, and really begin to just take our hands off our husbands sometimes in terms of trying to push them in this direction or that direction and maneuver them to think this way and do this thing. And we need to hand them over to God, because he is their creator. He knit your husband together in his mother's womb, just like he knit you. And God created him to think the way he thinks and to do the things he does. And God's going to change it in his own time. That is honestly, and many times, none of your business. But your business is about the business of showing up and being the person that you want to be. Showing up and being the person that responds in a way that makes you proud. Not for him, but for yourself, right? And so that's step number 2. We've got to give up the blame and the fault finding and the criticism and the judgment. That's standing in the way of you stepping into the best person, the best woman, the best spouse that you can be, right? I know, we don't like this. We don't like hearing these things, but I love and care about you way too much to not just tell you the truth, right? And then the third thing is the defensiveness. We've got to let go of our defenses, meaning that when we get feedback, right, when we get input about what we're doing or how we're saying things and the tone and the body language and all of the things that we may not be doing right, when we get feedback from our husbands, from anyone really, about those things, we have to stop being so defensive. And you may not even think that you're being defensive, but anytime you feel like you need to explain, anytime you feel like you need to justify, anytime you feel like you need to offer a rationale for, you are defending. You're defending. And I want you to look at that, right? Whenever someone offers you some feedback, whenever your husband is, complaining or doing whatever it is he does, I want you to just ask yourself, like, is there any truth to this? Is there any truth to it? Because we're only defensive when we have something to defend, when our ego has been struck in such a way that makes us uncomfortable because maybe it's a part of ourselves that we don't even really want to see. And one of the questions I always like to ask my private clients when we're looking at this is, how do you show up when you're your worst self? How do you show up when you're your worst self? And when you know that and you can be honest about your own weaknesses and your own issues, then you almost beat other people to the punch. You almost beat your husband to the punch because you already know and have uncovered that about yourself. And it's already something that you know you need to work on. So when someone brings something to you that you already know to be true about yourself, there's no reason to be defensive about it. You enter a posture of being receptive. You enter and position yourself to grow from it. And you can see that feedback as a gift that's designed to help you to benefit your marriage, right? Instead of bringing you down. So those are the main 3 areas that I know are sort of standing in the way of you rising up to the level to be the best spouse you can be. And being the best spouse that you can be is so important because that is the only factor that you can change in your marriage. And I promise you, once you focus your attention all on that, once you focus on releasing your husband to God to change, once you focus on allowing God to heal your heart and to mend those wounded places, entering into the space of being the best spouse you can be will be so much easier, and your marriage will respond to that. Your husband will respond to that. Because up until now, he's been responding to the person that you are, to the ways that you are showing up. And if you're not being your best self, it's going to continue. So that's what I have for you on day 3. My charge to you is to become your best self as a wife for yourself, right? If you're not in alignment, if you're not putting yourself in position to receive that vision for your marriage that you created on day 1, then you're never going to get there. And I want you to get there, and you want to get there. So let's step into that person, okay? Now, along with this 3-day marriage reset, I have been offering you a free marriage reset guide. Be sure to download that. That is included with the link in this video. And I also want to just make myself available to you if you feel that there's anything that maybe I can help you work through, that if getting on a call for a complimentary consultation would be helpful to you, I would love to speak with you. I'd be honored to be a thought partner with you, to be a listening ear and a little bit of a voice of encouragement for you for whatever it is you might be going through right now. So feel free to either put a comment on this video, send me a private message. You can also find me on my website, berelatable.com, and I would be more than happy to set you up so that we can have a conversation together. Thank you so much for tuning into this 3-day marriage reset. I do hope that you have gotten some valuable information that really can put your marriage back on the right track. It has been my honor to share this information with you, and I hope you take action, right? Information without action is stagnation, and we're all about resetting your marriage. So go do that. I'll be back with you soon.